Van Valen, C.B.I, Car Brand Infos, and today I have a special guest that's going to interview me on the auto industry and our favorite brand, Mazda. And so this is Corey,
How you guys doing today?
and we're going to go ahead and let these questions rip here.
All right, let's dive right in, Felix. How you doing today?
All right, good.
My
Good to see
man.
you.
Okay, where do you see the auto industry in next level of cars?
Well, we've been hearing all over from the president speaking and everybody else, the media, and some of these car brands have already started this path, which is electrifying their platforms or powertrains. And so we know electric cars is the future for now for the auto industry. Some brands have already started their journey down that path.
Yeah.
It is going to be interesting to see how some brands will keep their identity though. So yes, everyone is going to head down this path for electric, but let's pick on a brand like Subaru for a minute. So for those who are Subaru fans or diehard fans, you know what Subaru brings to the table. They run with their flat fours, right? And they have their X-Drive system. This makes them a special brand because the only other brand that uses any kind of flat engine is Porsche. And any brand that's using an X-Drive system, they purchased from Subaru. So for the most part, when they go electric, is it still gonna be like Subaru? You know, what's gonna make it special anymore? Or is it gonna be, you know, like everybody else's? It's gonna be boring. Or are they gonna be purchasing somebody else's tech so that they can be compliant and joining the rest of the industry by going electric? So it's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen in the auto industry.
Well, speaking of the auto industry now, that's a very good topic. To be more specific, where do you see Mazda in the electrified and their powertrain?
Okay, so now we're going to talk about our favorite brand, Mazda.
Right.
And so Mazda is just like Subaru in a sense. It is a small manufacturer that does a lot of engineering. They also have been known for things throughout their time of being in manufacturing, like their rotary engine, which was the only manufacturer to ever get the invention that Felix Winkel, the German engineer, had created functional and put it into production, right? They're known for the Miata, the little small roadster that just never stops and pretty much is undefeated, right? And so they wowed us over the last 8 to 10 years with, you know, dabbling and wanting to take a part of the market share from your premium luxury brands, right? So now we see that this brand has a lot to offer. They have been number one in a lot of categories in this industry. But now to go electric, for those who don't know, a lot of the Japanese brands are a little bit behind the Americans, the Koreans, and the European brands right now with electricity. They're gonna obviously turn things around, but right now they're just a little bit behind. Now Mazda, a couple of weeks ago, laid out their plan for electrification. It's a $11 billion plan, and there's stages to them going electric. But they have always surprised everyone. Every time they're gonna do something, it's always different. It's always a wow factor with them. And so I definitely look forward to seeing what their electric platforms are gonna bring to the table, if they're gonna be significantly different than, let's say, Tesla or Toyota or anyone else. They're very secretive.
Very secretive, and Mazda's always conservative and likes to stand out. But to be more specific, Felix, what do you think people want to see from Mazda?
Well, I can tell you firsthand, I know a lot of Americans want to see one thing from Mazda, and that is power. Mazda, power. Zoom, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Automatic.
Now, I do know they're probably not going to bring back the Speed brand itself. They'll probably rebrand it as a different brand for performance. But honestly, they wowed us with the premium and the luxury. We now want to see some performance, because you know what? There's not one luxury brand out there that does not deliver a punch above its weight when it comes to performance. And Americans definitely love to be able to put their foot to the pedal and have their vehicles move. So if you're watching this Mazda, you got to deliver. We need some kind of performance lineup from you soon.
Yeah, I mean they offered the 2.5 turbo, right? We're gonna explain how it's not a performance engine. You've explained how it's
Right.
more for comfort, right? But it's still, I mean, it didn't compensate the Mazda Speed 3. But you think because 2.5, 250 horsepower, 320 torque, that's a decent number.
Yeah, those are decent numbers
Yeah.
for an engine, and Mazda's been known for that. Like for example, even with the Miata, but that car is really lightweight, so it has 181 horses with 151 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah.
But it's like a 2,000-pound vehicle.
Yeah, so it takes off like a rocket.
Lightweight, it's fast, it's quick. Now, that's for the Miata.
Mm-hmm.
That car is designed for zoom, zoom, zoom.
Oh yeah.
But now, what we need to see from Mazda is something with a little growl in it, like a real growl.
Like a muscle car.
Like I know, like their exhaust now. Like even if you're driving the CX-9, that's a family vehicle for those who are familiar with Mazda. That's their 7-seater, right? Okay. But that vehicle has a growl in its exhaust. But it gives you the feeling, and it's fun to drive, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
But we know that if you had to take it and it came to top end power, that's where it's gonna lack. It will beat somebody off the line. It's a lot of torque, 320 foot-pounds of torque.
But when now their turbo gets going.
Right, but when somebody else's motor, their horsepower kicks in at a higher RPM, you'll see them come back kind of strong. So again, we need you to deliver Mazda. We need performance from you.
Okay. So in terms of what the people want to see from Mazda, in terms of breaking it down to dealership, why do you think even getting that dream car? Why is buying a car so difficult today, Felix? It shouldn't be.
Well, look, I've been asked this question a couple of times in my career in this auto industry. Why is it so difficult to be able to purchase a car? 90% of the times, to buy a car really comes down to the buyer, right?
Yeah.
And it's the level of service that they're gonna get is what they put out. So if you don't do a lot of research ahead of time, and the manufacturers, all of them, they spend a great deal of money on marketing and advertising. This is not the deal we're talking about. We're just talking about straight up from the manufacturer. They also spend a great deal of time training sales associates, millions of dollars to make sure your sales associate is knowledgeable and knows the product and represent their product the way they want it to be represented.
True.
But even with them spending all this money and doing all these things to try to earn your business, if you haven't done your homework, meaning utilize your computer or phone or any electronic device that actually gives you internet service, going to the manufacturer website, checking out cars, their specs and dimensions to make sure it fits your family and household. And you want to do these things before entering the dealership because one, you still need to physically see the dealer because you need to physically see the car. You need to know if you're looking for a family-sized vehicle like a Toyota Highlander or something, you need to really know if that's going to fit your family. If you have dogs and you don't have children, things of that nature. So physically touching the car is important, but you should have at least checked out some of these vehicles
in person.
On your websites first before entering the dealer. What we always see in this industry is customers will call a dealership, email a dealership, or come into a dealership and say, I just need an idea on price.
Yeah, like there's product and there's price, and they will just literally price.
So right off the back, as Corey's pointing out about price. Yes, price is important. It is. No one's saying it isn't. But at the end of the day, there's a lot more stuff that's important other than the dollar and the cents of the vehicle. The dollars and the cents, you can legit get this information right off the manufacturer's website. Now, things aren't the way they used to be, so the market is actually turned upside down right now. So, but years ago, there was a lot of incentives from the manufacturers to help you purchase a vehicle. There was discounts from them, and then discounts from the dealers. There was promotions. You were getting something, right? It wasn't just walking through the door and they said no, and you had to pay MSRP or higher. So you were getting something. But with that being said, if you just want to get a roundabout number, if you're a person that is balancing your own checkbook in your household, and you say, hey, you know what? I need to be $350 a month. This is going to help me. This is the max I'm going to be able to spend. Instead of going to the dealership and asking to find out if you can get there at $350 a month. You can do this literally on the manufacturer's website.
Exactly.
I have a video on my page here that actually shows you how. And every single manufacturer website provides these tools. It's a payment calculator. It will allow for you to see if the car that you're looking at, the features and everything that you're desiring, is going to be affordable for you.
But
give or take $1 or $2. Right? But if you're not doing those things ahead of time, what you always hear as well from customers, I don't want to waste your time. Well, technically, you're not just wasting that sales associate time, you're also wasting your time. Because if you took just a minute to go log on to whatever manufacturer it is that you're desiring, that you want to purchase from, go through their website, check out the product, go to their payment calculator, see if it fits your needs, if the car is going to financially work for you. And then if you're leasing or buying, you can also figure this out real easy on a calculator. Again, without ever calling a sales associate, without ever calling a dealer or emailing a dealer to ask these questions. If you need to be $350 and you're doing a finance or a purchase in a sense, you can take that $350 and times it by 60 months.
The month, yeah, and that's a simple math.
It's simple math.
Like what we're
$350 times 60 will tell you exactly how much of a loan you need to be getting, which tells you exactly how much car you can afford.
Yeah, simple math.
And if the finance isn't working at 60 months, you can take it out to 72 months, which is 6 years.
Yeah, longer.
60 months is 5, 72 is 6 years. If you have the means to do a short loan, 36 or 48, same thing. Times it times the payment that you have in your mind, that you're picturing that you want to be at. But the reality is, if it's a lease, then you want to try to cut that in half. A simple way to figure out at least the best way you can, truthfully, without coming off like, oh, I'm looking for a crazy number. Take the window sticker of the car, what the car actually costs, true MSRP. The manufacturers on their websites don't always include their destination and stuff until you finally build the car completely. When you build the car completely, you'll see what the true MSRP of that car is. Otherwise, you're seeing the MSRP before any options or anything is on that vehicle. If you build the car and then you see, let's say it's $36,000, divide it by 2, and then divide it by 36 months. That's your lease, right? And if you're gonna put money down, you can then reduce that payment by how much you're putting down. So there's easy ways to do it without really going through the hassle of walking into a dealership.
I'm sorry, you were talking about like hassles of dealership. You offered a lot of ways for them to calculate, the payment $350 a month type stuff. What else could people do to making it somewhat easier for themselves, you think?
If you want a really good buying experience, it starts just what we were talking about with the first question. Why is it so difficult? Meaning just take that time ahead. If you walk into a dealership and you're already prepared, you've already checked to see if this car is going to fit your needs. You come into the store, you physically test drive it, make sure it's going to fit your needs. You've already got a color and everything picked out in your mind. You know what you want. You've called the dealership ahead of time to make sure the car is physically there, because now we know that the industry's messed up and dealers don't have an abundance of cars anymore. And once you've solidified they have the car physically, then you go in and then you can sit down and work out a price to make sure it fits your needs. You'll be surprised how quickly you'll get in and out of the dealership. You don't have to be there for 4 or 5 hours. You can literally cut your time down. My experience in this industry, when I've worked with customers from a premium brand, a lot of premium customers have already done the legwork, and when they come in, they're kind of very direct on what it is they're trying to accomplish. They already know what I have in my inventory. They already know as much as possible about the car, so I don't have to really go into so much details, but if they have to ask me any technical questions, I'm able to answer them. They do their test drive to confirm that that car drives how they expected or needed or wanted. They already know how the competitors are because they've already done that homework as well, but now they want a price and they already done their homework enough that they have somewhat of an idea. One thing you will never see from a customer who's buying a premium brand is saying, I need to be at $250 a month or $350 a month. And it's not because it's a premium brand, it's because they know right off the back the car is a $70,000 car. There's no way you're going to be at that kind of a payment on a car like that if you're not putting down any kind of money or a lump sum of money.
Yeah.
So they're never going to ask those questions. What they are going to ask their sales associate is, can you price this out for me? Here's what I need to meet. I'm doing a short finance. I want to do 36 months. I want to take advantage of your special financing. And I'm going to put down this, or I'm not putting down this. Let the sales associate go back to their desk, or if they have the means to work up the deal at their desk, and present you the numbers. This way you know, and you don't come off sounding like you don't know what it is you're looking for, or what it is you're doing. The worst thing you can do is be looking at a $30-something thousand car for the people who are just looking at normal cars and be like, I want to be $200 a month, I want to be $199, I want to be $300 a month.
Yeah.
The payments on those cars, anything over 30 is a $500 a month payment. Anything over 35,000 is almost a $600.
And that's the simple math, like you said, breaking it down, calculating it.
And if you're doing a $40,000 vehicle, that's a $700 a month payment, not unless you're putting some kind of money down. So if you're looking at these kind of cars, and as where cars are technically at today, the average car that's being bought today is about 30 grand. You should be looking at anything
less than that for you,
and saying I want to be at $300 a month.
Oh my gosh!
Not unless you're putting down money. So the safe bet, so that you don't sound like you don't know what you're doing when you're sitting down with your sales associate, is to ask them to price out the car, and then let them come back at the numbers. But if you did a lot of this math at home first, then you know he's not coming back at a ridiculous number. If he's somewhere a few dollars higher or less than what your expectations are, then you know this car is exactly what you're looking for. The payment is similar. Then you can ask for your discounts and stuff. But before you ask for any of that, just be direct and upfront and tell these people what it is you're interested in.
All right. So speaking about people, what they're interested in, I hate it so much when people all the days have these premeditated consumptions when they walk into dealerships. Oh, dealers are bad, dealers are crooks, they walk in, they want to take your money, they just want to make money. Felix, are dealers really bad?
So for the longest time, the industry as a whole has had a stigma about it. There's legit probably 1% to 2%, and I'm talking about nationwide, all brands. Basically, you may have dealers in that category that are just bad for service. They don't give you the service that you deserve, and they're not very professional at their profession. But the bulk of the dealerships, okay, and we're not talking about every single transaction, because honestly, we know that some people's personalities are just not going to match their sales associate or the management that at that facility. But 90% of the dealerships, when going there, if everything is done correctly, you're going to have a positive experience. The reason why this is so significant, because dealers are regulated, and most people don't really understand how this works for a dealer. If you're a dealer and you're selling new and pre-owned cars on your lot, you are watched by the state, whatever state they're in, right, for consumer fraud.
The trifecta, you said, right? The state, the manufacturer,
right,
and the government,
right. They're being watched all the time, because for consumer fraud, but not just for consumer fraud. There's a lot of things internally that can go wrong inside of the dealership.
Oh yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of laws that apply.
Official,
and they have direct access to banks. There's underwriters, and that they have to communicate to on people's behalf to be able to get you the loan, right, from the bank. So the federal government's always watching these guys. It's different for a used car lot. They do have some laws that apply to them, but it's not as extensive. They don't get audited as frequently as a new car dealership. A new car dealership, the manufacturer can just roll up at any given time and perform an audit. And if any of their paperwork or things aren't in line, like let's say your sales associate didn't fill your address out correctly on any of those forms. Now you did your deal, you're on the road, you're driving your car, you're enjoying yourself, but here comes, let's say, Kia. They come in, they want to make sure that that the dealership is representing them correctly and that they're doing all the things right by their customers.
Yeah.
Any of the paperwork that's not, the T's aren't crossed and there's no dots where they need to be, they can be held liable.
Yeah.
And guess what? They got to pay back the manufacturer sometimes millions of dollars because of just simple clerical work. So although dealers have this stigma of, oh, they're always out to get me and take advantage, that's not necessarily true. There's a lot more people who stir the pot and scare you, especially for new buyers, someone who's haven't bought a car before, and they're going to tell you, oh, look, here's what you look out for. Don't do this, don't say that, blah, blah, blah. A lot of that is just garbage. And if someone is saying those things and they say, hey, I was in the industry for 30 years, this, that, and the other, then they work for a really bad dealer. Their ownership didn't respectfully respect their clients and the people who brought them to business. But if they honestly have done all the right things, then that dealership is going to have a 4-star or 4.5-star rating.
Yeah.
Look at their ratings. They're real. Some dealers really are what the people say they are.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to see some things probably in reviews where somebody had a bad experience. Why? So let's analyze what is being said. So a customer comes in, they say, hey, you know what? Let's say they didn't have the bad experience up front with the sales and the pricing. Let's say they had a bad experience when it comes to getting their DMV or motor vehicle. Plates didn't come in on time, the temp expired, things of this nature. This is all part of the business. This can absolutely destroy somebody's experience of that might have started off positive, may end up being negative. They're going to write a bad review. Mannerisms, how you're being treated. Some sales associates really aren't cut out for this business and probably shouldn't be in this business, and how they greet somebody. Some people might get greeted really well, but then if the customer had a bad experience at another place and now brings that bad experience with them to a whole new dealer because they're painting the dealer with a broad brush, now you're gonna upset the new sales associate at your meeting because you already just had a bad experience. You're now at the point, well, I don't want no nonsense, no bull crap. I just had a bad experience at the guy down the street. So you have to keep these things in mind.
Not a used car lot.
Right. You know, if, for example, I know a lot of people were pushing for the whole Carvanas and your CarMax with the online buying process, right? And this seems to be the future for the industry in a sense. Some people really want to see dealers go out of business. Let me just tell you, as for those who had experience operating or buying a car from Carvana, it has not necessarily been the best positive experience. Some states don't even let them operate anymore in their state, simply because they're not held to the same standards as a dealer. There's a reason why that dealer has a license, their dock fee. It's because these guys are connected to the state and they are being watched. Like I said, this does not exempt them from making attempts to make money or make up fees and stuff like that. But even if they make up a fee, they got to prove that that fee is serviceable. If it's some kind of service, they have to have documentation for the service. If not, it can go to a consumer fraud and they're going to be held liable by the state and yourself. So these are the things that I mean. The state can walk in any given time and audit them. So it's a shame that dealers have been painted this way for so long, but we're about to see a change, and unfortunately it's not going to be in everybody's favor. We're going to all end up paying more for a car now because everything was painted for such a long time as a bad experience. When half the times the experience could have been better on both ends, I'm going to say.
For sure.
It's just sad.
Very interesting stuff today. Wow, we covered a lot. Was that all the 7 questions that I had today? That was
absolutely
wow.
Felix, fantastic.
Felix, for our first segmentation of the podcast, this is the conclusion to the second one of many segmentations of our Car Talk, Mazda News USA. A lot more is coming up, guys. Felix, thank you so much for inviting me on your first segment. I'm gonna go check. I think we have to go pick up some brand new cars, like a C50. Next episode, we're gonna be talking about the new CX-90 coming out.
Yes, the CX-90, which is due to be revealed in
January 30th?
January 30th or 31st.
Okay.
Mazda will be revealing their all-new car, all-new powertrain. Again, more surprises from this manufacturer, so we're going to see what they're going to bring to the table. I'm excited for what this brand is holding.
Nice.
I had to put my foot in my mouth a
Yeah.
few weeks ago because they were behind with going electric, and now that they made their announcement for the $11 billion project of converting, I'm excited.
Wow, I can't wait to see what
It was
you
the
got
first
next,
time
man.
I didn't mind sprinkling salt on my foot.